All right, hey everyone. Today we're gonna dive deep into prepping for a Google software engineer interview.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got this really cool guide from I Got On Offer,
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
and it covers like everything.
Yeah,
It's got the different interview stages, what Google really looks for beyond just, can you code?
right, right.
So if you're thinking, hey, maybe Google's the place for me, or even if you're just curious about how these big tech companies, find the best of the best, this is going to be a fascinating deep dive.
Yeah, Google's hiring process. It's
Yeah.
well known for being super thorough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they really want to make sure that the people they bring in are not just good coders, but they also fit into that Google environment.
Right. Like it's not just about the technical skills,
It's
that's the whole package.
the whole package.
But before we get into all that, let's start with the basics.
Sure.
What exactly does a Google software engineer do all day? What's a typical day look like?
Well, think about the products that Google makes. I mean, you've got Search, Maps, Android, YouTube,
Used by billions of people.
billions, literally billions of people every day.
Crazy.
So these engineers, they're the brains behind those systems.
Right.
They're building them, maintaining them at a scale that most of us can't even imagine.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
Absolutely.
And the guide mentioned something interesting
Oh, yeah.
about how Google's engineering process is different from a company like Meta, where everything's about speed.
Right. Move fast and break things.
Exactly. But it seems like Google is a bit more, deliberate?
Yeah, much more deliberate. Yeah.
Like they take their time to get it right.
Yeah, there's a quote from a Google SWE, Mary Zhang, who describes things moving slower at Google.
Slower.
Yeah, because they're focused on this meticulous planning, testing, and really prioritizing rock-solid quality.
Instead of just rushing things out the door.
Right. They're building products that need to be incredibly reliable.
Right. It's not just like some quick app.
It's the infrastructure of the internet.
Makes sense. So, okay.
Yeah.
We've talked about what they do, but let's be honest.
Right.
Most people are also curious about the compensation.
Oh, of course, the big question.
Right. So does this guide, does it give us any insight into the financial side of things?
It does, and it's pretty impressive. Google SWEs,
Yeah.
they earn, on average,
Okay.
a whopping 44% more
44%.
than the typical U.S. software engineer.
Wow.
We're talking median salaries starting around $180,000 at the entry level
Okay.
and going all the way up to over $700,000 for those at the highest levels.
All right. Now that's
Yeah.
serious money.
It's a pretty good gig if you can get it.
But there's got to be a catch, right?
Well, there's always a catch.
I mean, the guide mentioned something about how this compares to other tech giants like Meta and Amazon.
Right. So while Google's entry-level salaries are the highest among those companies,
Okay.
it gets interesting as you move up the ladder.
Oh,
Meta and Amazon actually start offering more at the senior levels.
interesting.
So it seems like a strategic move by Google. Attract the best and brightest early on, knowing that some might move on later in their careers for even bigger paychecks.
So it's like choosing different paths.
Yeah.
You start at Google for the prestige,
Mhm.
the intense learning experience, and then maybe later you jump ship for a bigger leadership role and, fatter paycheck.
Could be.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, shows that compensation is about more than just that starting figure.
It's about the whole trajectory,
Your whole career trajectory.
what you value at different points.
Exactly.
But I bet getting onto that Google trajectory,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
It's no walk in the park.
The guide actually called the interview process the interview gauntlet,
Oh, wow.
which sounds a little intimidating.
It's known for being multi-staged and highly competitive.
Yeah.
The entire process can actually take over 8 weeks,
8 weeks.
and it all starts with a resume screening.
Oh, yeah.
And get this, about 90% of applicants don't even pass that.
90%.
Yeah, so just getting your foot in the door,
That's a huge accomplishment in itself.
it is.
Wow. Okay, so for the lucky few who do make it past that initial hurdle,
Yeah.
what's next? What comes next in this gauntlet?
Well, for new graduates and interns, there's an online assessment,
Oh, right.
90 minutes, 2 coding questions.
So they're not easing anyone in.
No, they're not.
All right for it.
Very similar to what you'd face in a live interview. Data structures, algorithms, you even have to write your own test cases.
Oh, wow. So they're really testing you
Absolutely.
right from the get-go.
Right from the start.
Okay, so then for those with more experience, what happens?
Then there's the technical phone screen.
Oh, okay.
Usually a video call, 30 to 60 minutes, where you'll be tackling more data structure and algorithm questions.
Okay, sounds familiar.
But here's the kicker. You'll be coding live in a Google Doc.
Wait, a Google Doc?
A Google Doc?
No fancy IDE.
No autocomplete, no debugging tools.
Ooh, that's rough.
It definitely adds a layer of complexity.
Yeah.
You need to be comfortable thinking on your feet and writing clean, efficient code without those crutches.
Right, so it's not just about knowing the syntax. It's about really understanding the concepts
problem solving on the fly.
and being able to, communicate your thought process clearly.
Absolutely. And don't forget, even at this stage, be ready for some behavioral questions.
Oh, right.
Why Google?
Yeah?
Or tell me about a recent project you're proud of.
So they're trying to get a sense of,
Who you are as a person,
your motivation.
your communication style.
Right, why you're drawn to Google specifically.
Exactly. It's about showing them you're a well-rounded candidate, not just a coding machine.
Right, the whole package.
The whole package.
Okay, so we've got the online assessment, the phone screen, and then comes the main event, right?
The big one.
The on-site interview.
On-site interviews.
I'm already feeling nervous for our listener just thinking about it.
It can be intense.
So what can they expect at this stage?
Well, think of it as a full-day immersion in Google's world.
Oh, wow.
You're looking at 4 to 6 back-to-back interviews,
Okay.
each about 45 minutes long.
That's a lot.
Most will be focused on coding, but if you're at level 5 or higher,
Okay.
get ready for system design interviews as well.
Oh, right. And the guide mentioned whiteboards?
Whiteboards, yes.
Maybe even Chromebooks with a special interview app.
Yeah, it can be a high-pressure environment.
Yeah, no kidding.
Preparation is key.
Right, so practice coding in different environments.
Exactly.
Get used to explaining your thought process out loud.
Out loud, yeah.
Be ready to think on your feet.
And here's an interesting tidbit.
Oh.
There's usually a lunch interview, too.
Oh, what's that?
It's not formally evaluated, but it's still a chance to show your genuine interest in Google's culture.
Right.
You're always on, so to speak.
That's a good point. It's like a constant audition, even when you're grabbing a sandwich.
You never know who you're talking to.
So, okay, we've talked about what happens during the interview process.
The steps.
But what about the how-W?
Yeah,
What are they really looking for in a candidate?
right, beyond just the coding skills.
What makes someone stand out?
From hundreds of other brilliant minds, all vying for the same role.
Right, because, everyone applying to Google's probably pretty smart.
Oh yeah, they're all top of their class.
So what sets someone apart?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Google goes beyond just technical skills.
Uh-huh.
They actually evaluate candidates based on 4 key attributes.
Oh, wow. Okay, 4 key attributes.
The first one is general cognitive ability, or GCA.
GCA. Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down for me.
So GCA, it's all about your raw brain power.
Raw brain power. Okay.
How you think,
Uh-huh.
how you tackle tough problems,
Got it.
and your ability to learn and adapt quickly.
So it's not just about memorizing algorithms.
No, it's about being a quick learner, a creative problem solver.
Right, like you can figure things out.
Exactly.
Even if you've never seen that particular problem before.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. So GCA, that's the first attribute. What's the next one?
Next is role-related knowledge and experience, often shortened to RRK or RRKE.
Okay, RRK, got it. And what does that mean?
This one's about making sure your skills and experience actually align with the specific role you're applying for.
Right, so it's not just a generic software engineer position.
No, they have many different specializations within Google.
So you wouldn't want someone, let's say, with a background in front-end web development applying for a deep learning role.
Right, they'd be totally out of their depth.
Yeah, it's about finding the right fit.
Exactly, matching your expertise to the position.
Okay, makes sense. So we've got GCA, we've got RRK. What's the third attribute they look for?
The third one is leadership.
Leadership. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not the traditional top-down kind of leadership you might expect.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this Google-style leadership.
They call it emergent leadership.
Emergent leadership.
It means stepping up and taking charge when your specific skills are needed.
Even if you're not officially the boss?
Exactly. It's about recognizing that everyone has something to contribute.
Right, and leadership can come from anywhere within a team.
Exactly.
I like that it's a much more collaborative and dynamic approach to leadership.
And it fits perfectly with Google's culture.
Yeah, so we've got raw intelligence, GCA, we've got relevant experience, RRK, and we've got this ability to lead when needed.
Emergent leadership.
What's the final attribute? What rounds out this Google-worthy candidate?
This one's a bit more intangible, but they call it googliness.
Googliness. Okay, now I really need an explanation.
It's essentially about cultural fit.
Cultural fit. Okay.
Do you align with Google's core values?
Right.
Are you comfortable with ambiguity?
Mm-hmm.
Are you proactive?
Okay.
Do you have a collaborative spirit?
So it's about finding people who will thrive in that Google environment.
People who embody the spirit of the company, not just the job description.
And not just the skills.
Exactly.
It's about the whole person.
The whole package.
And here's a detail that really struck me from the guide. The interview feedback forms are standardized.
Wow.
Every interviewer scores each of those 4 attributes
Okay.
and provides an overall hiring recommendation.
So there's a lot of scrutiny going on behind the scenes.
You're not messing around.
They want to make sure they're making the best possible hiring decisions.
It's like they're assembling a team of superheroes, not just employees.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way.
Okay, so we know they're assessing these 4 key attributes, but how do they actually do it? Let's start with the coding interview,
Okay, the coding interview.
since that seems to be a core component of the process.
It is. It's all about evaluating your problem-solving skills and your ability to write clean, efficient code under pressure.
Right, because everyone can code, but can you code well?
And can you code well when the pressure's on,
Right, when you've got someone staring at you.
watching your every move?
All right, so according to the guide, the types of coding questions they ask, they fall into a few distinct categories.
They do.
Okay, so let's dive into those categories. What kind of coding challenges should our listener be prepared for in this Google Gauntlet?
Let's do it. All right, so the one that pops up most often, I mean, it shows up in almost 40% of coding interviews, it's graphs and trees.
Graphs and trees, okay?
Yeah.
Those classic data structures that seem to haunt every computer science student,
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
but they're essential.
They are. I mean, they're the building blocks for so many systems.
Right.
So it makes sense that Google would really focus on them.
Absolutely.
And then coming in at a close second are arrays and strings.
Okay.
Those account for about 26% of the questions.
So those 2 categories right there, if you're prepping for a Google interview,
Yeah,
you got to master those.
absolutely. Those are fundamentals.
But it sounds like they want to see a breadth of knowledge,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
not just expertise in one specific area.
They want well-rounded engineers.
Right. So what other types of coding questions did the guide mention?
So they also highlighted dynamic programming
Okay.
and recursion. Right.
Each making up about 12% of the interview questions.
It's a little more specialized.
Yeah, more specialized techniques, but still essential for tackling certain types of problems.
So it's not just about knowing how to code.
Sure.
It's about understanding different approaches to problem solving
Picking the right tool for the job.
and knowing when to use which one.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what was the last category?
Lastly, there are geometry and math problems.
Geometry and math.
Oh, those show up in about 11% of interviews.
Interesting.
Yeah. They might seem a bit out of left field,
A little bit.
but they really test your ability to think abstractly
Okay.
and apply mathematical concepts to real-world coding challenges.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's all about solving problems.
Exactly.
Whether those problems involve sorting data or, calculating the trajectory of a rocket.
It's all about logic and problem solving.
Okay, so this is all very abstract.
Yeah.
We get some concrete examples
Let's do it.
of the kinds of questions they might ask.
Something to make our listeners sweat a little bit.
Okay, so for graphs and trees, imagine they give you a binary tree
Okay.
and they ask you to find the maximum path sum from any node to any other node.
Ooh, that sounds tricky.
It's a classic problem,
Yeah.
but it really tests your understanding of tree traversal algorithms.
Right. You got to be able to navigate that tree efficiently.
You got to know your way around.
All right. What about arrays and strings? What kind of question might they throw at you there?
All right, imagine they give you 2 strings. We'll call them haystack and needle.
Okay. Haystack and needle. I like it.
Your task is to find the smallest possible substring of haystack
Okay.
that contains all the characters from needle.
Oh, that sounds a bit of a brain teaser.
Yeah, I can already see all the edge cases and the potential pitfalls.
A lot of ways to approach it.
But it's not just about finding a solution, right?
No, it's about finding the most efficient and elegant solution.
The one that shows you really understand that you've mastered those algorithms and data structures.
Right, because anyone can brute force it.
But that's not what they're looking for.
They want to see your elegance.
They want to see your style.
your coding finesse.
Exactly.
Okay, these examples really bring it to life.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, so we've covered the coding interview in detail. Now let's shift gears.
Okay.
Let's talk about system design.
System design, all right.
We touched on it briefly before, but I'm curious to learn more about how Google approaches this part of the interview.
Sure.
Especially since they're known for, building systems at just an insane scale.
Oh yeah, Google scale.
Billion users, massive amounts of data.
It's a whole other level.
So it's not just about writing code that works.
No, it's about designing systems that can handle massive amounts of traffic, data, complexity.
Without breaking a sweat.
They need to be rock solid.
And what I find fascinating is that Google's system design interviews, they're often open-ended.
Yeah, they're more like a conversation than a rigid test. So the interviewer might tailor the question based on your specific background and experience.
So if you've spent years designing APIs, they might ask you to design a hypothetical API for Google Maps.
It's about applying your real-world experience to Google scale problems.
Right, so they want to see
How you think about those complex systems.
how you make trade-offs.
How you communicate your ideas.
So it's as much about your communication skills as it is about
Your technical knowledge.
I love that they're not just looking for robotic answers.
I want to see how your mind works.
Okay, so did the guide give any examples of the kinds of system design challenges they might throw at you?
Oh yeah, they had some real doozies.
Like what?
Imagine being asked to design Google search itself from scratch.
Oh, wow.
Or how about designing a system to handle the real-time collaboration features of Google Docs
Oh, yeah.
with millions of users editing simultaneously?
Okay, now we're talking. Those are some serious brain busters.
They want to see if you can think big, consider all the angles, and design for scalability, reliability, performance.
These examples really highlight the difference in scope between a coding interview and a system design interview.
Yeah, one's about solving a specific problem, the other is about architecting an entire system.
Right, it's like different levels of abstraction.
And here's another interesting detail. For some roles, like infrastructure or security engineering,
Okay.
you might even face multiple system design interviews.
Wow.
They really want to make sure you can handle the complexities of those critical systems.
It's like different levels of the gauntlet.
Yeah, the further you progress, the more intense the challenges become.
All right, so we've covered coding and system design, two very technical areas.
The core of software engineering.
But what about the softer skills?
Ah, the soft skills.
Like leadership, how does Google assess that aspect?
Right, especially for those aiming for management or senior positions.
Yeah, because leadership is crucial at those levels.
Absolutely. So they actually incorporate behavioral questions throughout the process.
Okay.
Everyone, regardless of the role, will likely get asked things like, tell me about yourself, or why Google?
Right. The classics.
The icebreakers.
But for those going for leadership roles, there's a more focused assessment, right?
Yes, there are dedicated leadership interviews
Okay.
for those seeking management or senior positions.
And those are all about
Your experience leading teams, managing projects, making strategic decisions.
So they might ask behavioral questions like,
Tell me about a time you had to navigate a difficult situation with your team.
right, or hypothetical questions.
Like, how would you approach building a diverse and inclusive team culture?
So they're trying to get a sense of your leadership style.
Yeah, your ability to handle pressure.
Your vision for building and motivating high-performing teams.
Exactly. They want to see if you have the experience, the temperament, and the values to lead effectively within Google's unique culture.
Did the guide provide any specific examples of the types of leadership questions they might ask?
They did. They highlighted questions about handling ambiguity,
Okay.
prioritizing competing projects, fostering diversity and inclusion, resolving conflicts, giving constructive feedback.
Really running the gamut of leadership skills there.
It's a pretty comprehensive assessment.
So it's clear that Google takes a holistic approach
They do.
to evaluating candidates.
Yeah.
They're not just looking for coding robots.
They want well-rounded individuals
who can think critically
who can lead effectively.
and then contribute to their unique culture.
It's about finding the right fit.
And this guide from I Got 10 Offer,
Yeah.
it doesn't just leave you hanging with a bunch of questions. It actually provides some valuable prep tips
Oh, yeah.
from those who have successfully navigated the Google interview gauntlet.
The veterans.
Okay, spill the beans. What are some of these golden nuggets of advice?
Right. So first and foremost, they emphasize going beyond just practicing technical questions. Think about how you communicate. Be clear, concise, engaging.
So it's not just what you know, it's how you convey that knowledge.
Exactly. They also stress the importance of asking clarifying questions.
Okay, clarifying questions.
Yeah, don't be afraid to dig deeper and make sure you fully understand the problem
Right.
before diving into a solution.
It shows initiative. Right.
Absolutely. Shows a willingness to learn.
And while you're working through a problem, what should you do?
Think out loud. Explain your reasoning to the interviewer.
Let them into your brain a little bit.
It gives them insight into your thought process.
Shows that you're not just blindly coding.
Right. You have a method to your madness.
Exactly.
All right. What else?
Don't forget to state your assumptions clearly
Okay.
and check with the interviewer to make sure they're on the same page.
So you're both aligned.
Avoids misunderstandings.
Right.
Shows that you're thinking through all the angles.
It's all about being transparent and collaborative.
Absolutely. The guide also highlighted the importance of being authentic.
Okay. And aligning your answers with Google's values.
So do your research on the company culture.
Know what they stand for.
Show them why you'd be a good fit.
Yeah, why you're genuinely excited about the opportunity to work at Google.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your passions and skills intersect with Google's mission and values.
Exactly. It's not just about getting in any job. It's about finding the right fit.
Okay, what other tips did they share?
When it comes to coding, they recommend mastering at least one of Google's preferred languages.
Sure.
C++, Java, Python, Go, or C.
Okay, the usual suspects.
And don't forget to practice coding in different mediums.
Right, Whiteboard, Google Doc, their interview app.
Be flexible.
Adapt to different environments.
And for system design,
okay,
they advise practicing the art of designing systems that are scalable, reliable, and efficient.
So really put yourself in the shoes of a Google engineer.
Tackle those massive, complex challenges.
Think big.
Think big.
And finally,
Yes.
even the most brilliant minds need practice. So seek out mock interviews
Mock interviews.
with experienced interviewers.
Get feedback.
Fine-tune your approach.
Practice makes perfect.
This has been an incredible deep dive
It has.
into the world of Google software engineer interviews.
Fascinating world.
It's clearly a challenging process,
Oh, yeah.
but for those who are passionate about technology, problem solving, and making a real impact, could be the opportunity of a lifetime.
It could be.
And even if Google isn't your ultimate goal,
Oh, yeah.
the insights we've gleaned from this guide,
Yeah.
they're valuable for anyone preparing for technical interviews.
Absolutely.
In the tech industry, any tech company.
It's about honing your skills, showcasing your potential, and demonstrating your passion for this world.
The world of technology.
Exactly.
Before we wrap up, I have one final thought-provoking question for you.
Oh, okay. Hit me with it.
Out of everything we've unpacked about Google's hiring process, what surprised you the most?
Honestly, it's the level of detail they go into.
Really?
When evaluating candidates, I mean, the standardized feedback forms, the multiple rounds of interviews, the emphasis on cultural fit,
Yeah.
it's clear they're not leaving anything to chance.
It's like they're assembling a team of superheroes, not just employees.
Yeah, they want to make sure everyone has the right skills, the right mindset
You're right, Googliness.
to thrive in their environment.
Okay, so that was the most surprising thing for you.
Yeah. What about you? What surprised you the most?
You know, for me, it's the fact that even with such a rigorous process, they still encourage candidates to be authentic and show their personality.
Right. It's not about fitting into some cookie-cutter mold.
Exactly.
It's about finding people who are brilliant in their own unique ways.
So if you're out there thinking about applying to Google or even just prepping for a tech interview in general,
Yeah.
remember this. Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Showcase your passion.
Let your geek flag fly.
And never underestimate the power of preparation.
Practice, practice, practice.
Practice your coding, brush up on those algorithms, and think about how you design systems at Google scale.
Those are the keys?
And most importantly,
Yes.
have fun.
Have fun.
The world of technology is full of exciting challenges and opportunities.
It is.
Embrace the journey, keep learning,
Keep learning.
and who knows, maybe one day we'll be doing a deep dive into your amazing career at Google.
That'd be awesome.
It really does sound like they're building a team of exceptional individuals,
Yeah.
not just filling roles.
It's about finding the best of the best.
But all this talk of googliness
Right.
and cultural fit, and makes me wonder,
Yeah.
is there a risk of creating an echo chamber?
Oh, that's a good question.
You know, if everyone thinks alike,
Uh-huh.
does that limit diversity of thought
It's a valid concern
and experience within the company?
because you do want a variety of perspectives.
Right, because if everyone comes from the same background, has the same ideas,
Yeah.
you might miss out on some really innovative solutions.
Absolutely. You need those different viewpoints to challenge the status quo.
So how do you balance that need for cultural cohesion
Right.
with the need for diverse perspectives?
It's a tough balance, for sure.
It seems like a tightrope walk.
It is. And honestly, it's something I wrestled with while reading this guide.
Oh, yeah.
On the one hand, Having a strong shared culture, it can be a powerful asset.
How so?
It creates a sense of community,
Okay.
fosters collaboration, drives everyone towards a common goal.
Right. It's like having a team of athletes who are all training for the same Olympic event.
Exactly. They have that shared purpose, that
Hmm.
drive to excel, that makes them more than just individuals.
They're a team, they're a unit.
Exactly. But on the other hand,
Yeah.
if everyone thinks alike,
Oh.
if everyone comes from similar backgrounds, has the same perspectives,
You risk creating a monoculture
yeah,
that's blind to its own biases.
and blind spots.
So how do you avoid that trap?
I think the key lies in how Google defines Googliness. If it's narrowly focused on specific personality traits
Okay.
or backgrounds,
Uh-huh.
then yes, it could lead to a lack of diversity.
Right. Like if they only want people who are, I don't know.
Extroverted,
Yeah, extroverted or who love to play ping pong.
or who wear hoodies every day.
Right. That's not really getting at the heart of what makes someone a good fit for the company.
Exactly. But if Googliness is more about shared values,
Okay. Values like what?
a passion for innovation, a commitment to excellence, a belief in the power of technology to make a positive impact.
So it's not about fitting into a mold.
It's about embracing a shared ethos
I like that. A shared ethos.
and recognizing that diversity comes in many forms.
Right. Diversity of thought.
Diversity of experience, diversity of
So
background.
a truly googly team
Yeah.
would be one that values and leverages all those different perspectives.
Who solve problems in new and creative ways.
That's a really insightful way to think about it.
Yes.
It's not about homogeneity,
It's about finding people who are driven by the same core values.
but who bring their own unique perspectives and experiences to the table.
Exactly. And that's something I encourage our listener to reflect on.
Okay.
As you're preparing for your Google interview,
Mm-hmm.
think about how your own experiences, your own values,
Align with what we've learned about Google's culture. It's not just about getting the job. It's about finding the right fit,
a place where you can thrive,
contribute.
be your authentic self.
And remember, even if Google isn't ultimately the right fit for you,
Right.
the insights we've gleaned from this deep dive,
Yeah,
they're valuable for anyone navigating the tech industry.
for sure.
It's about understanding what top companies look for,
How they evaluate talent,
how you can showcase your own unique skills and potential.
but never give up.
This has been an incredible journey,
It has.
exploring the inner workings of Google's hiring process.
We went deep.
We learned about the gauntlet,
Oh, yeah.
the emphasis on cultural fit,
Googliness.
the types of questions they ask, the strategies for success.
So much good stuff.
But most importantly, I think what we've learned is that it's not just about ticking boxes or memorizing algorithms.
It's about finding a place where your passions and values align with the company's mission.
And remember, preparation is key. Practice your coding, brush up on those algorithms, think critically about system design.
Those are the fundamentals.
But don't forget to showcase your personality, your passion for technology, and your unique way of thinking.
Let your light shine.
So to our listener out there, good luck on your journey.
Best of luck.
Embrace the challenge, be yourself, and never stop learning.
You never stop learning.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be doing a deep dive into your success story.
We'd love to hear it.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.